The desert sun was dipping below the horizon, painting the cracked asphalt in streaks of orange and blood red. 4 friends, Jake, lanky, and always grinning, Mike, tall with broad shoulders and a mischievous energy, Lisa, quick-witted and fearless, and Emma, quiet with eyes that seemed to see more than she let on, had been driving the same stretch of Highway 95 for hours, their Camaro rattling with every pothole and loose rock. The stereo blasted 80s synth pop, a cheerful contrast to the oppressive heat and the eerie emptiness that stretched for miles around them. "I don't even see another car for miles," Jake muttered, adjusting the rearview mirror. "Feels off. It's the middle of the Nevada desert," Mike said, cracking a smile. "Off is what we're used to when Vegas isn't a few hours away. Relax." Emma kept her gaze on the horizon. Something about the way the shadows stretched unnaturally across the desert floor made her stomach tighten. "I don't like it. Something's wrong." Lisa rolled her eyes, but even she couldn't deny the unease creeping over her. "Come on, you're just imagining things. Probably mirages or heat stroke." Then in the distance, a flicker of neon buzzed weakly. At first, it seemed like a mirage, a trick of the desert sun on the asphalt. But as they drew closer, the buzzing solidified into a neon sign. "Red Hollow Motel, vacancy." The glow was faint, flickering in a rhythm that almost mimicked a heartbeat. The motel itself was a patchwork of faded yellows and rusted metal, its paint peeling in long strips. One old pickup sat parked at an angle, dust-covered and abandoned, the tires half buried in the sand. "Looks sketchy," Emma whispered. Lisa leaned forward, squinting at the sign. "It's a motel. Big deal. We're not dead yet." Jake eased the Camaro into the gravel lot. The crunch of tires on the pebbled surface sounded unusually loud in the desert stillness. As they cut the engine, a sudden gust of wind swept the parking lot. It carried a scent that made Emma gag. Stale cigarettes, rotting linoleum, and something metallic, like blood. Mike stepped out first, stretching. "All right, let's grab a room quick and get back on the road." Night's falling fast. At the front desk stood a man in a uniform that looked decades out of date. His skin was pale, almost waxy, and his yellowed eyes reflected the flickering neon like 2 molten pools. He didn't move at first, just watched them, head tilted unnaturally. Then he forced a smile, tight, carved, like he had cut it onto his face himself. "Welcome to Red Hollow," he croaked. His voice rasped like dry leaves. "Rooms? Ready." Mike stepped forward. 4 beds. He tried casual, though the hairs on his neck were already standing. The man's head tilted further. Of course. Room 6, 7, 8, 9. Check in before midnight." His hands trembled slightly as he slid a set of keys across the counter. The metallic clang seemed deafening in the otherwise silent lobby. The air smelled sharper now, coppery and heavy, and Emma felt bile rising in her throat. Thanks," Mike said, taking the keys. He noticed the man's eyes lingered a second too long, and a chill ran down his spine. The rooms were small, narrow, dimly lit, and smelled faintly of decay. Wallpaper with faded floral patterns peeled away in long strips, curling like dead skin. The beds were covered with quilts, soiled in dark stains, irregularly splotched, like someone had tried to clean something that refused to leave. Jake flopped onto his bed, forcing a grin. "Not exactly the Ritz, huh?" Lisa laughed nervously, setting down her bag. "We'll survive a few hours. Let's just shower, eat something if we have snacks, and leave before this place starts feeling alive." Emma stared out the window, watching the desert swallow the last light. The neon sign flickered weakly, casting strange shadows that seemed to twitch and pulse along the motel's exterior. "It's too quiet," she said, voice barely above a whisper. No crickets, no wind. No! Nothing. Just silence. Jake shrugged. Quiet's nice. Gives us a break from the road. At 11:57 p.m., the silence broke. It started as a subtle thump, metal scraping across metal, a wet, dragging sound. Then it grew louder, echoing down the long corridor outside their rooms. Jake forced a laugh. Probably rats, right? Lisa grabbed a flashlight from her bag. Or something worse. Let's check it out. They stepped cautiously into the hallway. The carpet was damp in places, stickier than water should ever make it. The walls seemed to hum faintly, vibrating as if the building itself breathed. Dark smears streaked across the carpet, smeared in a way that suggested they were not just mud or grease. Emma gagged, pressing her hand to her mouth. The trail led to room 3. The door was slightly ajar, the hinges squealing in protest. Lisa peeked inside, and her stomach flipped. On the floor, something dark and glistening moved slightly, its shape unrecognizable. Blood? Flesh? She couldn't tell. The walls were etched with deep gouges, faces carved into them, mouths open in silent screams, eyes wide and hollow. The smell was unbearable, coppery, sickeningly sweet. We shouldn't be here, Emma whispered, shaking. Jake swallowed hard, trying to sound braver than he felt. Maybe we should just leave, get back in the car, hit the road. Lisa nodded. But the moment they turned to leave, the hallway stretched impossibly, doors appearing where none should have been. Shadows pooled unnaturally in the corners, flickering under the weak light. The motel didn't feel like a building anymore. It felt alive, watching. From the darkness, a low, wet, ripping sound emerged. Something moved. A figure stepped out, skin hanging in loose, wet folds, eyes absent, replaced with black pits. Its mouth stretched impossibly wide, dripping crimson. The friends froze. Emma screamed, and the sound echoed unnaturally, bouncing off the walls. Jake grabbed a chair from the corner, swinging it desperately. The thing recoiled, but its movements were quick, unnatural. The air was thick with the metallic stench of blood. The figure hissed, a sound like boiling oil, and advanced, dripping red liquid with every step. The friends backed up, hearts hammering, adrenaline fueling their limbs. The hallway seemed endless, doors opening into rooms that should have been impossible, each one holding hints of the previous victims. Blood streaks, torn clothes, broken furniture, the stench of death and decay filling the air. Lisa grabbed Jake and Emma's arms. We have to get back to the lobby, now. From the shadows, the man at the front desk appeared again, his body twisted, skin hanging loosely, bones jutting at impossible angles. His teeth were black, jagged, and he smiled at them, slowly, like a predator enjoying its prey. "Check in! Forever!" he croaked. Mike turned, heart racing, only to see the man's arm stretch impossibly, grabbing him. A sickening crack echoed as Mike's body jerked violently, something tearing deep inside him. Blood sprayed across the walls, painting the peeling wallpaper in streaks of crimson. Emma vomited. The metallic smell of fresh blood filled the hallway, mingling with the dry, coppery stench of old death. Jake grabbed Lisa and Emma, dragging them toward a door that suddenly appeared on the far side of the hall. Beyond it lay desert sand, black and sticky, almost pulling at their shoes as if it wanted to trap them. They didn't hesitate. The neon sign outside flickered one last time, buzzing. "Check into hell!" They ran, lungs burning, sand sucking at their feet, hearts hammering. Behind them, a chorus of wet thuds, low growls and whispers followed, echoing across the endless desert. The motel loomed in their minds, patient, hungry, eternal. And as they ran, the words whispered in their ears, soft, wet, and final. "Check in, or check out, never." The desert stretched endlessly before them, black sand clinging to their shoes like some living thing. Jake drove the Camaro as fast as it would go, tires skidding over loose gravel, hearts hammering. Lisa and Emma clung to the seats, their faces streaked with sweat and blood, eyes wide in terror. Behind them, the motel loomed impossibly larger, walls pulsating, windows glowing like hungry eyes. The night air reeked of iron, thick and suffocating, and every gust carried low, wet thuds that sounded like someone, or something, was running just behind them. "Is it following us?" Emma whispered, voice trembling. Jake's hand shook on the wheel. "I don't know, just drive." The Camaro roared across the black highway. But no matter how far they went, the desert didn't seem to end. Then, a shape appeared in the headlights. A figure, grotesque and misshapen, stumbled into the road, a body missing half its face, intestines spilling, limbs twisted backward. It let out a wet, gurgling scream. Mike, no, the vision of Mike, or what had once been him, stumbled forward. Eyes hollow, Lisa screamed, ducking her head. Emma vomited again, bile burning her throat. Jake swerved, narrowly avoiding the walking corpse, but the Camaro fishtailed violently on the loose gravel. Sand sprayed over the hood like blood. A sudden flash of neon lit the sky, and ahead the motel reappeared, not on the horizon, but closer than any building should have been. It rose taller, monstrous, its walls crawling with grotesque forms, bodies fused into the siding, faces pressed into the windows, arms stretching impossibly to grasp at the fleeing car. Screams echoed from inside, wet, tearing, human, and not human at the same time. "There, inside it," Lisa whispered, voice trembling. "The motel, it's alive." Jake's jaw tightened. "We can't stop now. Just keep going." But the road ended abruptly. A vast pit yawned in the sand, edges slick with congealed blood and black sludge. Behind it, figures emerged. The desk clerk, now fully monstrous, bones jutting at impossible angles, skin hanging in ribbons. Other forms followed, twisted, torn, their mouths stretched in eternal screams. Limbs torn, some missing entirely, others dragging entrails across the sand. One of the creatures lunged. Its clawed hand tore through the passenger side, rending the door and scraping flesh and muscle from the frame. Lisa screamed as her arm was grazed, skin torn in long, jagged strips. Emma ducked, but the smell of blood was suffocating. Jake slammed the car into reverse, tires spinning on the black sand, metal groaning, scraping against the pit's edge. The motel seemed to pulse in response, walls flexing like muscle. Doors opened along the corridors, vomiting more figures into the night, bodies missing heads, others with gaping wounds that dripped in thick, sticky arcs of blood. One staggered forward with a hand completely severed, holding its own bloody fingers, moaning in a high-pitched gurgle. Emma's scream pierced the night. One creature had leapt onto the hood of the Camaro, claws raking the metal and cracking it under their weight. Jake slammed the accelerator, throwing the thing off, sending it skidding across the sand in a spray of dark liquid that smelled like copper and decay. The car skidded into a narrow stretch of road, flanked by dead Joshua trees, their branches like clawed fingers reaching for them. More shapes appeared in the neon glow. A man impaled on a street sign, blood dripping onto the asphalt, eyes staring wide and unblinking. Another, a woman, body twisted, so her spine bent backward, head hanging like a broken doll, limbs jerking in spasms. "Jake! Stop! Turn!" Lisa shouted, pointing at a smaller path that branched off into darkness. Without hesitation, Jake yanked the wheel. The Camaro slid into the narrow trail, kicking up sand, tires spinning. Behind them, the motel walls seemed to stretch further, impossibly long hallways erupting from the desert, like a nightmare come to life. Then, from the darkness, a hand shot out. It was covered in slick, wet skin, nails long and jagged. It scraped along the roof of the car, leaving deep furrows in the metal. A long, screaming tear, as if the vehicle itself had been wounded. Emma tried to scream, but the sound caught in her throat as the blood-slicked appendage clawed at her hair. Jake hit the brakes, throwing the car sideways, but the sand beneath gave way, flipping the Camaro violently. The world became a blur of black sand, neon, and crimson. Lisa's arm got caught under the wheel, a wet, popping sound echoing. As her scream cut off abruptly, Emma was thrown against the door, sliding across shards of glass and debris, tasting copper and dirt. Jake barely managed to crawl from the wreck, dragging himself away as the motel loomed closer, monstrous and patient. The ground beneath his hands was slick, sticky with congealed blood, small bones crunching under his fingers. The creatures from the hallways and walls moved with predatory speed, reaching for him, dragging their torn, stitched-together limbs. He saw Lisa, her body mangled, arm twisted backward unnaturally, skin hanging in ribbons. Emma was convulsing on the sand, blood smeared across her mouth and nose, hair soaked and tangled with gore. Jake's stomach churned, bile rising. He screamed, but no sound escaped, swallowed by the night. From the motel's front doors, the desk clerk emerged, taller now, almost 7 feet, bones jutting through decaying skin, his mouth stretched impossibly, teeth black and serrated, saliva dripping in thick strands. He extended a hand toward Jake, long fingers snapping like twigs, black blood dripping from the nails. "Check in?" he hissed, voice layered with hundreds of echoes. "Or never leave." A wave of despair hit Jake. The desert, the motel, the blood-soaked creatures, they were all part of some endless loop, an eternal trap. He tried to run, but the sand pulled at him, thick with the corpses of past victims, sucking him down into the blackness. Emma crawled toward him, but one of the creatures grabbed her, ripping her body upward. Her scream was cut off mid-air, a wet, tearing sound that mixed with the moans and gurgles of the others. Jake's hands were slick with blood, some his own, some not. He tried to fight, but there were too many. Limbs, faces, and jaws all moving in impossible ways, tearing at him. The air filled with metallic tang, and the wet, sickening sounds of flesh being rent from bone. He felt ribs snap, blood spraying across his face, pain and panic blurred together. His vision, red and black. Then the ground beneath him shifted. The motel itself seemed to rise, walls bending inward like a maw. Neon lights flickered, spelling a single message across the building. "Check into hell." Jake screamed one last time, a guttural animal sound as he was pulled into the darkness. The desert returned to its silent emptiness, black sand stretching endlessly under the cold, indifferent stars. Morning would never come for Red Hollow Motel. It waited, patient and eternal, doors opening endlessly to new victims. And somewhere in the wind, the whisper carried, "Check in," or "Check out, never."
Please like and subscribe channel Fear Frequency for more horror stories. Thank you.